Let's see, pandemic, centennial, AACSB, and then all the normal things that are happening within a school. I received today, for example, a proposal that will go to the faculty in a week or so on establishing an analytics concentration. So that's exciting. Today we received notification of the latest US News World Report rankings for undergraduate business schools. For the first time, I believe, we are ranked in the top 100 as a business school, and we had 4 other disciplines: accounting, finance, entrepreneurship, and management, all be ranked in the top 40 in the country. So that's quite an accomplishment for our faculty and staff, and congratulations to all of them. And then another new thing we have this year, and someone who will be a guest on a future Mondays at noon, we have our first executive in residence joining us this year, Kevin Mcquilkin, an alum of Gonzaga, current trustee of the university, long experience with Wells Fargo in New York City. In fact, if any of you ever went on the New York trek, you may have had the opportunity to meet with Kevin and his team on one of those trips. So we're thrilled to have Kevin with us in the room live for those of you at home. He's going to be a real value creator for us in any number of ways. And the one thing I can tell you, faculty, staff, students, if you want to talk to Kevin, go knock on his door, send him an email. If you want him to do something, just ask him, okay? And we'll talk in more detail with Kevin in a week or so. So it's going to be an exciting year. There's a lot going on. The one thing that we continually talk about as a building is kind of playing through the ups and downs and making sure that we are adapting to whatever is thrown at us. And again, I have great confidence in this building in being able to do that. The people in this building are committed to what we do. They are committed to how we do it, and they will find a way to make the best of the situation. Again, whether that's students, faculty, or staff. So with that, are there any questions? Because I'm not known for talking very long, unlike some people at the university.
I have some questions, but I want to honor that we've got students in the room and you get to go first.
I actually have a question. So could you go into more detail on the 1-credit courses that are being offered in the coming weeks?
I can start out in general, then I will turn it over to Molly to talk in more detail. The 1-credit courses came out of some conversations, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago now. And we realized that the undergraduate level, there was content that we wanted our students to have access to. Maybe it was something that was relatively new. Maybe it was something that we didn't have the type of expertise we wanted. So we said, let's think about this 1-credit thing on the weekend. Part of Molly's genius with pulling all this together was realizing that most undergraduate students do not take 18 credit hours. Yet, you pay the same for 12 to 18. Everybody wants credits. Everybody wants to get done quicker. So let's put together this package of courses. I want to say now we offer 6 or so a semester, maybe taught mostly by people from outside the building to help tap into our engagement value and tap into their expertise. But Molly, can you help us out here and tell us what's being offered this semester?
Sorry. Okay, I'm just going to come on the camera here real quick. And So some of the things that are really cool about this program is you can register anytime during the semester, right? You can register, like if the class starts at 4 o'clock on Friday, you can register at 3:50 and you're in the class. So it doesn't follow the normal drop ad program. And it is taught by people outside the building for the most part. No prerequisites and open to all students across the university. So if you have friends who are not in the business school but are looking to take classes, let them know that they can take these. When we started this program, I thought the courses early in the semester would be the ones that would fill up the fastest because, you know, I would think, you know, you want to get them out of the way and then you'd have a credit done. So the rest of the semester would be smoother. They're actually really popular late in the semester. So it's kind of an interesting little phenomenon that happens there. So you asked me to mention what's being offered. I think cryptocurrency is coming up. That's one that, you know, it's a hot topic, but it's not in our traditional classes. We're offering sales. There's 2 sections of Excel skills. That's been a really popular one. Couple of nonprofit classes. And I'm just not remembering the rest of them.
Looks like healthcare informatics, intro to cryptocurrency.
Excel and business. Or I'm teaching one on gender in the workplace. So, but you get my email, I hope. So
Yes.
you'll have the list there. So any other questions about?
No, I was just wondering basically how they work administration wise. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're all elective credits, and I would say they're different. The way the timing works, some professors like to start on Friday, like 4 o'clock to 10 p.m., and then let people sleep in on Saturday, and then do a long day on Saturday and a short day on Sunday. Some do like long days, Saturday and Sunday, so you know the timing is different. But yeah.
Thank you, Molly. Yeah, there should be, for one academic credit, most of you know, you need to be around 15 hours of contact time. So again, some people break it out Friday night, long day Saturday, short day Sunday. Some people spread it out a little bit differently. Molly hit on open A by university, general elective credit, and then the best source of information about what's being offered is the email you get from our associate dean every week, because it's going to have a list. And in fact, there's a webpage, I believe, also that has a listing of the courses that are offered. If anybody has suggestions for courses they'd like to see offered, feel free to ship those to Molly, and we can see what we can do. But like I said, it's been, I don't know if it's surprisingly popular. We had a pretty good feel on it from the get-go that it was going to be a good idea, but they certainly are popular in a lot of different ways.
It was Ken's idea, and when he said weekend classes, I was like, there's no way students are gonna want to take class on a weekend, are you kidding? So I was very surprised. You know, sometimes there's an assignment after the course is over, like to write a reflection paper or something, but you get it all done in a weekend, and so it's been, yeah, I'm very.
Another question. We'll make the next answer shorter, perhaps.
I was gonna ask the number one question of Jesuit business deans. Why is the Jesuit business education different from any other business education? Or how? Maybe not
Okay.
why. How?
Why? I was gonna say, why is because it's a Jesuit business education.
Take a short answer that time. Now, for the longer one, how?
So I gave this answer the other night in our freshman business class. I would say that a Jesuit business education, at least the way that we do it, is distinguished by 4 things. Okay. And the first 3 are our 3 values as a business school. So number 1, we're going to be excellent academically. And that not only means the delivery of our material and our curriculum, but the curriculum itself. Hopefully, it is a curriculum that is up to date and current and prepares our students well for whatever may lie after Mother's Day on the year that they graduate. It's also, because we're a Jesuit business school, going to have certain things in it that you may not find at a non-Jesuit school. So of course, you're going to have things like social responsibility. Of course, you're going to have things like ethics. Nowadays, of course, you're going to have things like belongingness, equity, and inclusion, and sustainability, et cetera. So those are some of the characteristics that you would see under our value of Excel. And these do kind of bleed into one another a little bit. Our second value is engagement, trying to get our students, our faculty and staff as engaged with folks outside the building as we can. We talk about getting people from outside the building into the building, people from inside the building, push them outside the building. Maybe that's programming that we do. Maybe that is competitions. Maybe that is speakers. Maybe that is being a strong supporter of the university's efforts on treks. There's all sorts of ways. It's even the use of adjuncts. Those 1-credit classes could fall under engage as well. But we want to do a bunch of stuff here, that's the technical term, that complements what we do up here in number 1, okay? Because we know that so much of your learning and experience can come from outside the classroom and outside those 15 hours a week. You're in the classroom with your professors. And then the last one is we'll always be informed and motivated by our Jesuit legacy. We call that inspiration or inspire. So what does that mean? Again, a little bit of crossover. You're going to have things like ethics, social responsibility, belongingness, sustainability in the curriculum, in the programming. So for example, at the end of October, right, we have our Aram lecture on business ethics. We'll be featuring the former athletic director of Gonzaga University, Mr. Mike Roth, will be talking about leading a college athletic department through turbulent times and building an ethical culture and climate within that area. But inspire also refers to a certain type of learning, and that would be learning by doing. So we want you, as part of an excellent curriculum, as part of being outside the building, learning and doing things, again, internships, competitions, projects, whatever we can do to get you hands-on experience that complement, again, what we do in the classroom, okay? So that's part of what distinguishes a Jesuit business education. But the other part of it is that it takes place within a great liberal arts institution informed by Jesuit philosophy, Jesuit educational pedagogies, etc. And so you have not only a certain approach in all your classes at Gonzaga, including philosophy and religion and English, etc., but you also have a particular style of teaching, again, consistent with that Jesuit notion of pedagogy. So one of the things that makes us great as a business school is not just that we're really good, it's that the rest of the institution is really good, and alum upon alum upon alum, and I would raise my hand, and I know Kevin would raise his hand. yeah, we got a great business school education, but we learned how to think over in the ad building. And we learned how to communicate somewhere over in College Hall, which for those of you scoring at home, that's the same place. I'm just trying to fool you. So Molly, I think that's what really distinguishes a Jesuit business education, these types of values, but taking place within the context of a great liberal arts institution motivated by a specific type of education philosophy. Yes, sir.
So how does the SBA support its students after the graduate?
The number one way that we support our students after they graduate, I think, is by helping them when they need help. So I know all of us as individual professors really value that relationship we have with what are now our former students, right? Compared to when Kevin and I back in the day, it's so much easier now to stay in touch with people. And whether that's email or Facebook or whatever social media thing you're into. But I can't tell you how much time I spend each year, and I know the same is for my colleagues. Someone will call me up or shoot me an email and say, hey, I'm thinking about this. Can you put me in contact with that? And just, so I think that's one of the big things that we do is, I don't want to call it necessarily career assistance, but career type things, networking type things. And then as we begin to grow things out as a business school, I think you'll see us do more of what we've kind of started with programming available to alums. And so everybody likes the term lifelong learning. So I would put that in that category as well. But I think that the type of help you got as an undergrad while you were a student, whether it was from us or careers and professional development, whoever it might be, that doesn't end on Mother's Day. It continues after that, and we are more than willing to help in any way we can. Hi.
So I'm trying, I couldn't, started trying to type out my question because it's really complex. Are you ready?
I hope.
Take a break, deeper. Okay, so business schools, we have experienced throughout the last several decades, a lot of economic tragedies, that stimulate change, right, in our structure and what we teach, like recessions, crashes, etc. We use it in like I teach HR, so I talk about and then this is a response, and we get excited, or the economists start talking about trends and what does this mean for that, making some predictions. Okay. So, a lot of students don't get to see big picture school of business responses to the challenges with this pandemic. They see their class, they see their individual instructor, they see, okay, now classes are offered hybrid or purely remotely. That's been a change. But what has the school done more generally to help students manage their challenges? Besides offering different modes of teaching and communication, are we advising differently? Are we, for example, are we advising don't take 18 credits? Are we communicating differently? How are we structuring content differently? What have you heard from your kind of umbrella position as dean, bringing our stories together?
That's a great question.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Well, I think, let me talk about first for me personally. I think one of the big things of the last 18 to 24 months that I've heard repeatedly And now I think it's important to bring to the different relationships that I have, certainly, is, man, meet people where they are, right? And whether I'm advising students or working with faculty, working with staff, whatever it might be, I try to keep in mind that, hey, right now I'm working with a faculty member and maybe things aren't going as perfectly as we want them to go, but they've got this family at home, or they've got this situation here, they've got this going on there. And you know what? We make great hiring decisions in this building. And we hire wonderful people. And most of the people that we hire, and this is based on data, not some happy pixie dust sort of thing, they're going to be here 30, 35 years. So what we're going through right now is just a small snapshot of their career. So that's the first thing. And I would hope that the university and the leadership are talking enough about meeting people where they are that it's sinking in there a little bit. I think the other big thing for me has been, quite frankly, realizing the diversity of situations that our students find themselves in, right? And it's not that I was, completely blind to that over the first 33 years of my career, but hearing some of the stories we've all heard over the past 18 months. And, the student whose parents lost their job, or maybe the student who tragically lost a family member, and the student who can't get to campus and has crappy internet access, right? How do we meet that student where they are and help him or her gain the value of the education that we provide? So I know what I've tried to be focused on out of the dean's office is making sure that whenever we can, we respond in an effective way to those situations. Maybe it's by giving people technology. Maybe it's by sending people off to conference, although that really doesn't happen anymore either. But Becky, for me, it's been those two big things. It's talking about meeting people where they are, and it's really understanding the diversity of situations. And I think Molly's done a great job, speaking of other tangible things that we've done, of bringing in speakers to the building meetings and having them talk about where our students are at and some of the things that they're going through, and here are things that we can do to better help our students. The stuff we were doing last semester with the PowerPoints at the beginning of every class, right? And I know we have faculty who have used different technologies almost every single class period to say, hey, let me know how you're doing, right? I can't remember all the different forms and whatever else people are doing, but just checking in and taking it one step further above and beyond simply walking in and saying, okay, open your books, let's talk about, recruitment. So those are some things that come to mind. Yes.
So adding on to this, what changes have you heard about that you are excited to continue to evolve, besides checking in, besides understanding the diversity of student experiences and how they're living and how that has shaped our flexibility or anything like that? Are there other changes that you see have happened in the School of Business that you're excited to continue after or throughout this pandemic, endemic? You're excited to keep, or keep evolving. rather than, just talking about, okay, when the pandemic ends, everything will just go back to quote unquote normal. What are the things that you're excited about?
I'm excited about keeping the management faculty,
Okay.
because they ended up ranked, what, 39th,
Yes.
39th, in the latest using US News World Report, our management area.
We are closing in on accounting.
You're closing, you're 8 spots behind. You can get them next year.
Yeah. Can I say
Sure.
something about that? Because we did an exercise, I'm just gonna get closer to the mic, in our faculty meeting to talk about how this has been the worst of times, but it's also, we can look back on it and say how it was the best of times in some ways, in that we improved massively on our accessibility to students and on our attention to the affective components of the student experience. So checking in all the time, I think those are things we want to keep, and we want to keep developing. And, we all had to go to online office hours, which, was hard because, you don't get that connection over Zoom, but also it's great because the student didn't have to come to the building. They could stop by on Zoom for 10 minutes and, get what they need without having to, come through the snow and the rain and all that kind of thing. So we became more accessible, and we started paying attention more. And I think those are things I'm excited about. Continuing.
So in other words, when today's students are telling their kids about how hard they had it, they're not going to be able to say it was uphill against the wind and the snow. They're going to say, yeah, I had a crappy internet connection, and that's what made my life tough back in the day, right? Is that what you're saying, Molly?
I believe so.
The other thing, Becky, and I appreciate your question, I think this year is going to be a really good year, particularly in the spring. Things are going to be better from a pandemic perspective. Things are going to be, accreditation is going to be over. We're all going to be able to, I think, refocus a bit more than we have over the last 6 or so months. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us as a building to answer that very question. What do we keep? What do we get not worry about? What do we get better at? And Molly, to me, hit the obvious nail on the head. How do we leverage technology like Zoom to make us better at what we do? Right?
The
Thank you,
list
Molly.
we came up with in the meeting, things to keep from the pandemic, things that we learned that are good, is much longer, and what we want to leave behind is very short. The rigidity of class times, office hours, things like that. But I thought that was really interesting. There's more we want to keep.
So 100 years is very impressive. And by all accounts, the school and the university are thriving. Both. What keeps you up at night worrying about the next 100 or the next 10?
What keeps me up at night? It's easy. We have great people. We've had great people since you and I were in school here. They were completely different people.
Some of them are, some of them are.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, different in, they weren't doctorally qualified for the most part. They had completely different backgrounds. They got into academia for different reasons, but we had great people. And over my decades here as a faculty member, that's continued. We have great people. We hire great people. We attract great people, not just that they're good at their job, but they buy into the mission and they love being at Gonzaga. So I don't worry about people, right? We're always going to have great people. I worry about this. I worry about this from affordability point of view for students. I worry about this from the point of view of making everything we had here 15 minutes ago come together. Okay, that's what I worry about, because we've got most everything else, but we need to continue to do good work in this area. And whether that's being efficient with our resources that we get from the university, or going out and getting our own resources from outside the university, this is going to be what determines, in large part, how the next 100 years goes. We can't keep jacking tuition. We can't keep being okay with a discount rate of 45 to 55%. We've got to take care of wages for our staff and adjuncts in particular. I mean, there's lots of things we need to do, and we all know that, you know, the cost of electricity ain't going down, cost of water ain't going down, the cost of travel ain't going down. All those costs continue to go up. Okay, so this is what I worry about. You know, how do we put ourselves in position that we can realize the potential of who we are as a school, who we are as a faculty, staff, and student body, and not let this fundamentally get in the way of what it is that we're trying to accomplish. That plus whether or not it rains on AJ's cupcakes on Friday.
I asked if anyone wanted to unmute and ask a question. In the meantime, how about careers in days? What are those? Why should we care?
Well, careers in days go back many years to, many times we call him the founder of the modern business school, my predecessor, Bud Barnes. And he would bring in 6 or 7 alums, usually from the West Side, to put on a presentation about what they did in finance. They were usually folks from Goldman or JP Morgan or somewhere like that, and they would get up in front of a group of people and they would say, "Hi, I'm Ken. I graduated from Gonzaga in 1981 with a degree in management. I left Gonzaga and went to the University of Nebraska, got my PhD. I came out of Nebraska, came back to Gonzaga, and since then I do academic stuff." They would tell their story. And over time, we evolved that into pretty much every discipline having their own career day. So there's careers in accounting. A really successful one is careers in HR, careers in MIS, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The value of it for me, I see it providing a really useful service for our students, getting you to start thinking about all the different things you could do with an HR concentration or a finance concentration or a marketing concentration, because many times you don't know, number one. Even if you do know, you don't know all the possibilities. So to me, it's an element of programming that fits into our engagement value that makes you a little bit better informed at the end of the day as to, well, what would I do with a marketing concentration? What are the different options? The other thing I like about it is it does give you the opportunity to interact with the panelists. Again, many of whom are alums, and one thing we know about Gonzaga alums is they're immensely generous with their time. And they will talk to you forever about what they do and how they can connect you. So we now have roughly 8 of those a year, usually 4 and 4, 4 in the fall, 4 in the spring. The first one coming up is?
Urgent finance. It is on. Wait for it. The 27th. Thank you.
And now, again, back to Becky's question about what are we going to keep? Just like this event, I'm assuming that event's going to be in person, if we're able, and streamed live and available later on our YouTube channel for review. So it's one of the cooler things that Bud started, I don't know, 15, 16 years ago. And then we've expanded it. Molly and AJ in particular have worked to expand that across all the disciplines over the last 7 or 8 years.
More questions?
Just with your marketing hat, those days and the promotion of those is not just for students when they're here, it's to get them and their parents interested before. The college choice is being driven very much by where's the return on investment, where's the job, and what are you, university, doing to help with that? And it's not, it's got to be more than CPD. Everybody's got one. How do you be different? Critical.
I thought you were gonna go the other way, back to your question and say you should get the alums involved. This is a good way for them to
Oh, yeah.
see the other alums and meet the students. So, yeah.
And then I thought you were going to go the other way and go back to what Becky said and talk about something that we will keep moving forward and we'll do differently is virtual access to, which expands the audiences exponentially. But to Kevin's point, when we meet with brand new parents or even parents to be, stories about career day really resonate. They like that. I mean, they like hearing about our friend Joe Smith from Truist Bank down south. And when he used to work for Bank of America, they love the fact that our alums are coming back and interacting. So it is a key thing that we do. It's not hard to copy, but we need to get the word out anyway, especially with.
It's changed a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that was not, our oldest son was a ZAG in the class of 12. When he was going to school at the places, questions were about safety and dorms and majors. Our daughter, 8 years later, graduated from here in May. The questions were about safety still. And then it was just, where's the job? All, and not to hear everything, all this. It's a complete mindset change as the cost of education has gotten so high.
Since we're here, and Kevin's here, students and parents, every time I meet them at like an orientation or a Dell weekend or something, they walk away from me, I'm in HR, and they go to finance. They want their kids to make them, so they don't want to talk to me right now. But they don't know. But I had this feedback from Carolyn Wyatt at Yale. She had this feedback again and again and again that maybe instead of career then days, we do industry days where we have a panel of people who have in that industry. There is this development director. There is the CFO. There is someone in sales to say, go towards your organization that matches with you, or go towards that industry. And it might be a great way, because I know finance, careers in finance, that room is always packed because people are already attracted to the field. Whereas yes, we have a great careers and HR day every day, but there are people who have already self-selected into it, you know? So even though it's there, I don't know, when you said that, I thought that could be really cool if it's more than just about career, it's about choose your, even an industry. Anyway, I'm sorry, I totally took that.
I'll just, a note, we have been able to expand it a little bit. So this year we're gonna do a career opportunities in international business. And then I believe that we've also kind of tried to expand that a little bit into company specific, but like what you're saying is even just building on, so.
Yeah, a few years ago, we did careers at Boeing, for example, right? To help our partners at Boeing reach more students. So, yeah, I like that. We can wrap up? Okay, well, thank you, Molly. Well, listen, I appreciate all of you tuning in. Next week, we'll be back, same time, same channel. And next week is what for Mondays at noon?
You know,
To be announced.
definitely check your email.
Check your email, but thanks for all the questions. Thanks for the participation. Hope you have a safe week and be careful out there. Thank you.